Hello everyone, and welcome to the Sim Auto Racing Association Sim Marketing Solutions Super Series. We are here tonight for 150 laps for the Midwest Powersource 150 at Stafford Speedway, where you will see 30 of the top Super Late Model Series racing drivers take to the track tonight to do battle here on the slippery surface as the track temperature is up high tonight. And we got some clear skies, so guys are going to be begging for more grip. But before we get into too much here tonight for tonight's race, let's go back to last week where we seen Ryan Matthews beat out Joe Schaefer Jr. for the Dynamic Auto Sports 125 at USA Speedway. Trevor Edwards was your hard charger on the night, and he was plus 19 positions. Top rookie was Ryan Doucette. He finished 12th. Finishing second last week was Joe Schaefer Jr. Third was last season's series champion Jimmy Mullis. Fourth, Dallas Pataska. And rounding out your top five was Zach Novak. Ryan Matthews did qualify sixth, but due to the invert, he started on pole, led 125 laps for a second career SARA win. Now tonight, he also qualified on pole. Tonight, he was your fastest qualifier, but due to the last week's winner rule, where if you qualify in the top 10 the very next week after your win, you will start 10th. So he'll be starting 10th here tonight. We'll have to keep an eye on him and see how he does. Monday night, the midgets were at Eldora Speedway, where Clay Snyder picked up his 8th career SARA win after leading 7 laps. He broke a long winless streak of 398 races, which dated back to February of 2014. Finishing second was Matt Rolfe. Third, David Kikorian. Fourth, Russell Berry. And rounding out your top 5 was Barry Phil. The Callaway Investment Sportsman Series was at South Boston, where they took to the track for 100 laps. There was 3 leaders and 4 lead changes. Joe Schaefer Jr. came away your winner in that. Kyle Souza was second. Matt Rolfe third. Cody Kelly fourth. And rounding out your top 5 was Bill Martin. Last week in the Contender Series, in the Davis Chassis Works Contender Series, there was 2 races in that. Justin Trumley was your fastest qualifier for the first race, and Blake Hamilton was your fastest qualifier for the second race. And in the first race, Jason Trumley came away with the win, where he led all 150 laps in that race. In the second race, I ended up winning that race. As the results are trying to come up here for me, I ended up winning that race. Evan Sorensen came in second, Gareth Gonder in third, Adam Jocelyn fourth, Matt Vade in fifth. I led 87 laps, and there were 3 leaders for 2 lead changes and 9 cautions. Going back to Justin Trumley's there, he ended up, like I said, leading 150 laps. Jared Borsch was second, Daniel Williamson third, Jason Tarasenko, who we'll be speaking with just a little bit about tonight's race, was fourth, and Michael Goddard, who will be starting on the pole here tonight due to the 6-car invert, ended up finishing 5th. Like I said, that brings us here to tonight's race. Tonight's race is 150 laps here at Stafford Speedway. It always puts on a great race. Last season, Tom Majeski came away with the win as he dominated, and he's still undefeated here. He's not being able to race with us here tonight as he has real-life duties at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Let's go ahead and bring in Jason Tarasenko here so he can give us a little information on the Midwest Powersource. Jason, thanks for joining us up here in the booth, taking a little time away from practice here tonight. Like I said, we got the Midwest Powersource 150. What can you tell us a little bit more about Midwest Powersource and what they do in the real world?
In the real world, man, we work on big diesel engines for the locomotives, marine stuff, that sort of thing. And basically we rebuild them top to bottom. We also supply all the parts and pieces for them and try and keep freight moving for all these people that are buying all this stuff all over the world.
Well, that's awesome. Well, we really appreciate you coming on board for tonight's race like I said, for the Midwest Powersource 150. For yourself, what are you expecting from your race here tonight? You know, the conditions out there appear to be pretty slick. I know based off of last night's race, track conditions were pretty slick themselves, and the track temp wasn't as high as it is here tonight. So what do you kind of expect to see here tonight?
I tell you, we ended up 3 laps down with a boot at the beginning there and got those laps back and then drove all the way through the field up to fourth. And I'm telling you, I'm making a bunch of adjustments here tonight compared to last night even because it seems to be really slick. Waiting on you guys. I didn't have much time for warm up there, but I'm hearing she's pretty slick. So I'm making a bunch of adjustments. I think we'll be okay. We're just going to try and stay out of the garbage at the beginning here and hopefully be up, in top 10 near the end.
All right, well, we'll definitely keep an eye on it for you and see how things fare out for you as well. Is there any things or shout outs you'd like to give before we get you on your way and get a few more laps in?
Yeah, man, I got to thank all my guys here at Dynamic Auto Sports. They really put a lot in here and got a couple of new guys with us that are bringing a lot to the table. And so I got to really thank those guys. They're just amazing at what they do. And beyond that, I got to, thank Midwest Powersource, of course. I got to thank my buddy at Harding Motorsports. He does a lot for me in the real world. And the Hub used sim giveaways. So you got to check that out on Facebook. AJ Rogers does that, and he does a great job. And so give them a check out too.
All right, well, we'll definitely do that. So you all go out there and check out what he stated there, and you have a good night tonight, and hopefully you can put it to the front.
All right, man, I appreciate it. Thank you for all you do too.
Yeah, no problem, bud. Enjoy it.
Thank you.
That's Jason Tarasenko. I believe he's starting there towards the back of the pack here tonight, but he has shown in prior races that he can make his way up towards the front into the top 10 and top 5. So we'll have to see what he does here tonight. Now, the field was super close in qualifying. 10th of a second separated first place from 18th place. Like I said, we got 30 cars here tonight on the track, and the gap spread out just a little bit beyond that. But qualifying conditions and race conditions are completely different. We'll have to see how these guys do. We may have some comers and goers based off of qualifying. Like I said, there was a 6-car invert here tonight. And Michael Goddard is going to start on the pole. These guys are still practicing here, and we'll see what things are wrapping up. Matt Rolfe is giving them some instructions here towards the end. We'll be advancing the session here. While we're waiting for them to advance, we'll go ahead and bring up the series sponsors here. Let you see who makes all this go around for us here at Sim Auto Racing Association. You got the Sim Marketing Solutions, who sponsors the Super Late Model Series you're watching here tonight. Davis Chassis Works, who sponsors the Contender Series that races on Wednesday nights. Hot's Pride's Leather and Sheepskin. Midwest Powersource, who is sponsoring this race tonight. Callaway Investments, who sponsors the Street Stock Series on Tuesday nights. Race1.us, Canadian Rail Serve, the Hub Sim Racing Giveaways, which Jason Tarasenko just told you about, Loco Toco Designs, Dynamic Auto Sports, USO, Can-Am Racing Series, and East-West Modifieds. Go ahead and bring up the grid here as well. We'll go through who's starting on the pole and so forth. Starting on the front row, you got Michael Goddard and Tim Bills. Second row is Ty Spearman and Casey Kelly. It's the first time we've seen Casey out here in Super Late Models in a while. It's good to see him back. The Kellys are always fast. Third row is DK David Kokorian. Outside of him is Trevor Edwards. Starting 7th here tonight is Joe Schaefer Jr. 8th, Jim Caudell Jr. 9th, Dr. Noise himself, Bill Martin. And rounding out your top 10 was last week's winner and this week's pole sitter, Ryan Matthews. 10th is Cameron Hamilton. 12th is Dallas Pataska. 13th, Keith Meteros. 14th, Brendan Wilkinson. 15th, Zach Novak. 16th, Daryl Hamlin. 17th is the league admin, Matt Rolfe. 18th is Tyler Hudson. 19th is last season series champion Jimmy Mullis. He's got a lot of work here to do tonight. And if you were with us last week, he did state that he kind of struggles here. So we'll see if he's able to make any ground up throughout the race. 20th is Adam Jocelyn. 21st, Jared Boris. 22nd, Donald Clark. 23rd, Adam Benefield. 24th, Grant Brown. 25th, Tyler Breeding. 26th, we just spoke to this man, Jason Tarasenko. Keep an eye out for him. 27th, Samuel Roush. 28th, Kyle Souza. 29th, Ben Nile. And last but certainly not least, 30th, AJ Rogers. The pace lights on the pace car is out. Michael Goddard has control of the field once the pace car goes off the racing surface. Bringing them down. Flagman's holding them. We are green, green, green. Michael Goddard gets off to a great start. Tim Bills looks like maybe he spun the tires just a little bit on the start. Ty Spearman throws it down into turn 1 and 2, trying to get to the inside as all these guys will battle for the bottom really early on in this race. Tim Bills still fighting hard on the outside as they go through 3 and 4. Michael Goddard's going to leave them down to the first lap. They're still side by side for second. Ty Spearman throws it down in there. He's going to make the pass on Tim Bills. Bills should be able to come right in here in front of DK potentially as they are teammates. We'll see if DK gives him a break. Looks like he did. Bills is going to get down. Go Schaefer Jr. is right behind David Kokori and Casey Kelly right behind him. Looks like Casey Kelly smacked the wall a little bit coming out of 2. Or might be a little bit tight on him. There's a 39 car, Bill Martin, in his throwback scheme. Looks good. He even got a little bit of love on Twitter today from Mark Martin. He showed Mark Martin his super late model schemes. Mark Martin liked it. Replied to him. So probably made him feel good. A little extra motivation for here tonight. Go back here to last week's winner, Ryan Matthews. Up to 8th place, making his way around Casey Kelly. Casey Kelly's going backwards, unfortunately, as he finally gets down to the inside. Casey Kelly's got a little bit of damage on the right front. Shouldn't hurt him too much. He didn't smack it as hard as what his car shows. As they are single file, 1st through 10th. Keith Meadows is looking back here in the 60 car underneath the 32 of Trevor Edwards. Right now, everyone else is single file. These two guys are battling out. Here comes Zach Novak underneath Trevor Edwards, as this is a battle for the 12th position. Currently, Michael Goddard is winning by a quarter of a second over Ty Spearman, and then it's another second back behind them. So those two are pulling away there just a little bit. And early on, since this is a 150-lap race, I know in last night's race there were some guys that were just kind of taking it easy early on because your tires will become a premium later on in the race, especially for drive-off. A lot of guys were loose on the drive-off last night, and the track temp is up here just a little bit tonight compared to last night. So they're probably, some of these guys are trying to take care of their stuff, make sure they have plenty of tire late in the race, as we do not take tires here in the Sim Auto Racing Association Super Late Model Series. This is no tire rule, so what you start on is what you got for the whole race. There are a few exceptions to that rule for certain races. This is not one of them. Usually specialty races that we host, like the Fall Brawl or Summer Shootout or what have you. Go back up here to the lead. Ty Spearman is all over Michael Goddard for the lead. Ty Spearman's got a good run coming out of 2. Going to show him the nose going back down into 3. Goddard still holds him off, as you can still see the line coming in on the track. And guys will be moving up or moving down low. Last night for myself, I was pretty much running the apron as much as I could feasibly without the car getting too loose. So you may see some other people that traditionally do that as well, like Matt Rolfe, running down the apron before too long. Other guys will be moving up the track, and it became extremely hard to pass guys as they moved up the track. Spearman's still all over Michael Goddard, and Goddard's not willing to give him the position at this point as they head down into turn 3, come to lap 14 of 150. These guys are pulling away a little bit from 3rd place from Tim Bills, as their lead is up to 1.4 seconds over Tim Bills. 1.5 now, so these guys are slowly pulling away. Hard to say how hard they're pushing. Lap times are pretty comparable to everyone else in the field. They're just about a half tenth to a tenth faster every lap. as we got an early green flag look to this, which is good because in last night's races, and maybe some of these guys were watching, but in last night's races, the caution flag flew pretty early and sometimes often. Go up here to in the third place. Joe Schaefer Jr. has already made his way up to third place. Got around Tim Bills, got around DK, looks like probably as well, as he was behind those two guys. So Joe Schaefer Jr. is making his way up to the front. And you see him just clipping down on the apron, getting into one. You can get that to work. It really helps the car rotate. He is down, just hugging on the white line there in 3 and 4. Now, just prior to the race or after qualifying, Joe wasn't feeling too confident about his car, but the way it looks right now, it looks like he's running it pretty well, as he was the fastest car on the track last lap. No, he was the second fastest. And we got a change for the lead here. Ty Spearman's going around. Michael Goddard just took the lead going into 1, cleared him out of 2. We'll see if Ty Spearman can stretch his legs here a little bit, pull a little gap on Michael Goddard. If you're Michael Goddard, you maybe can see what Spearman's doing. Maybe he's backing up the entry a little bit. Follow his line, maybe see if you can pick up a little bit of time to get back around him. But if they play around too long, Joe Schaefer Jr. is going to run him down. Yes, Michael Goddard was about almost a half-second slower that previous lap, so he must have made a mistake, and Ty Spearman capitalized on it. Now, if you're Ty Spearman, you're just going out here, you're just going cruise control. He was admitting one of the races last night, so I'm sure he took a little bit of mental note if he could, and try to apply it here for tonight's race. Now, they do have the benefit of having, as I stated earlier, Ty Majeski's at least knowledge of this track, as he is undefeated in the Semi-Auto Racing Association in any car that has raced on this track. I'm sure they got some good notes on what they can do with the setup and how they can apply it here tonight in this hot track. Keep the car underneath them, make sure it's not too loose, make sure it doesn't kill the tires. Ty Spearman is pulling away from Michael Goddard, and Joe Schaefer Jr. is catching Michael Goddard as we speak. Right now, it looks like it's about single file throughout the majority of the field. We'll go back here to Grant Brown in the 14 car. Him and Jared Boris are having a good side-by-side battle with Adam Benefield just behind them. And you just seen Grant Brown get a little bit of loose there, and that's what I'm speaking of. Coming out of the turn, especially in 4, the turn almost, or getting onto the straightaway, almost narrows up. It's almost what it feels like. You got a lot of wheel into it, and get pretty loose as he gets around Jared Boris. It's going to clear him. Adam Benefield's going to work over Boris now for 22nd, 23rd spot. That white 21 car, that was Jason Tarasenko, who we were speaking to earlier. It looks like he was a little bit of loose coming out of 4 as well. Go up here to the 01 car, Tyler Hudson. Him and Casey Keller, you're having a heck of a battle with Keith Meteros right there behind him, or in front of him, excuse me. And that's last season's champion there, Jimmy Moss, on the outside in his JDR Graphics Chevrolet Camaro. Looks like he may be trying to make a pass on Hudson. Maybe working. This might be when the outside's starting to come in. We are on lap 27 of 150. Moss is going to make a strong move on the outside of Casey Kelly. Keep an eye on him for just a minute. As he's making passes here on the outside, you're going to maybe see other guys that are going to try that out. As you've seen Hudson move up now, trying to get around Casey Kelly. David Kokorian just in front of them, just out of the picture. He's moved up as well. And if anybody's going to run the high line, it's going to be David Kokorian. Matt Rolfe just behind Jimmy Mullis here. He's on the apron, and that's what I was speaking of earlier for myself. And as I said, that Matt would be running the apron. And what he's doing is about what I did last night. And then you can really make some time off these turns and make some passes as everyone starts to move up and try to protect the top. You can get down there on the apron where rarely anyone's running. There tends to be a little bit of grip on the apron. As Matt works his way around Dallas Pataska, now he's working over on Casey Kelly in the 05 car. Not able to do it just as of yet as they go down into 3. Casey Kelly's going to shut the door on him. Here comes Matt just down low. Going back up front here to Joe Schaefer Jr. as he's caught up to Michael Goddard, and it looks like he's bringing along some of the field with him. He's going to be all over Michael Goddard. We'll see how long it takes for Joe to get around him here. Joe Schaefer Jr. is a 3-time series champion in of himself, so he knows how to get it done here. As there's a wreck on the backstretch, it was Tim Bills. He went sliding down the inside. There's no caution currently. That's a tough break for him. It was him and Zach Novak. Slid down to the inside, and we're still green. There is no caution. That's a tough break for both of them guys. As the caution rarely comes out here if you go sliding down into the grass. The only thing that happens is you lose time, and that's about it. Not too sure what happened with them, but there was definitely contact coming out of 2. Someone may have gotten loose and got into someone's door, and they both went flying down to the inside. So it's a tough break there for them. We'll go back up here to Joe Schaefer Jr., and he's trying to make a pass. We'll see if he can get it done here. Like I said, passing on the inside it's tough to do here. It's almost an art, and he threw it down in there into 1. See if he can clear him out of 2. He doesn't. Goddard gets a good run out of 2. They're side by side once again in 3 and 4. I look for Joe to really throw it down. He got loose out of 2, so that's going to hurt him, but he's really going to throw it in here into 1. Moves up just a little bit. This is great racing for second place, as Ty Spearman loves to see this in his mirror. He can just take his time and slowly pull away as these guys fight side by side for second place. And this is where Joe's really going to throw it in, slide up in front of him. Just like that. And Bill Martin now is going to capitalize on this, and he's going to start his battle with Michael Goddard. So Michael Goddard here is kind of moving backwards just a little bit. Got some fast guys behind him. Going to hold off Bill Martin and his family TV Ford Fusion. Someone needs to get Goddard to paint. I think he's just, no, white car, oh, they hit. Oh, the big wreck. Oh, they saved it? No, Bill Martin's going to slide up in front of him. That's going to cause out a caution. As Bill Martin was coming out of turn 2 and they hit the doors, and it's probably the same thing that happened between Zach Novak and Tim Bills, except Tim Bills and Zach Novak went to the inside. These two end up hitting doors, getting all crossed up, and Goddard got into the wall, came back down into Martin, and that's all she wrote for Martin. He just went backwards. Go ahead and go back on the replay here. As you see, Bill Martin gets down into 1 and 2 really well, and they just come up into the doors, into each other. There's 2 cars fighting for 1 spot. And unfortunately, Bill Martin got the raw end of the deal on it. Not too sure who will end up taking blame for that, which brings me to this. A good segue for this. Basically, here in the Sim Auto Racing Association, if you have not watched any of these races before, even been a part of them, we have the gentleman's rule here, where if you do cause a caution, not a racing deal or anything, you do cause a caution, you claim it, you'll get an EOL for this, to the end of the longest line. If you do not claim it and the admins go back and watch the race and realize that you were the cause of the caution and you did not claim it, you will get an EOL in the results. So it's always best to go ahead and take the EOL now if you are Bill Martin or if you're Michael Goddard. Depends on who thinks did what, which judging by it looks like Michael Goddard's going to end up taking. Can't get to him in time. No, it's just, yeah, maybe he's not. We'll see what he's going to go ahead and go in the pits here. I should probably go back live, and he's going to go to pits and get that damage fixed. And it's just a tough break there for both of them. However, if you're Tim Bills and Zach Novak, maybe you go in the pits here as well. Go and see, get your damage fixed. And that's a good caution that you need there to get called back up to the field as we're at 1 to go. Ty Spearman is your leader with Joe Schaefer Jr. on the outside. These two guys are teammates, so I'm sure they're in team speak or whatever they use to talk to each other and let each other know when Ty Spearman will let him know when he's about to go green. And Joe Schaefer Jr. is probably going to try to fall in behind Ty Spearman. But if you're the one car and Jim Caudell Jr., you're going to try to fill that hole as quickly as you can. And there's last week's winner in Ryan Matthews. As Ty Spearman gets off to a great restart, as we're back to green, green, green. Schaefer falls in line. Jim Caudell Jr. is going to be third. David Kokorian in fourth. Coming to lap 45 of 150. Everyone's trying to figure it out here behind them. Ty Spearman still leading the way as he started third here tonight. Obviously +2 positions. Led 26 laps. Make that 27 here so far. Joe Schaefer Jr. in second. Jim Caudell Jr. in third. David Kokorian in fourth. Last week's winner, Ryan Matthews, in fifth. As Matthews and David Kokorian are battling out, there's a heck of a battle here for fourth. You got the 10 car, Cameron Hamilton, and Jimmy Mullis, last season's series champion here, up to 7th. He's making his way to the front now. He started 20th, and he didn't have the greatest qualifying run. If you were with us last week, he stated that he needed some work here. He doesn't usually run well here, but he's making it work right now. As we have a great battle for fourth, and there's about 6 or 7 cars. You can throw a blanket over all of them. Got some great side-by-side racing here from 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, probably all the way back to 12th place. As now Ryan Matthews gets around David Kokorian. Now Jimmy Mullis is going to try to get under Cameron Hamilton. This is a battle for 6th. Trevor Edwards there just below him on the apron. Gets a pretty good run out of turn 4 as they go back down into turn 1. That's close racing there. Yeah, Trevor Edwards, Cameron Hamilton, Tyler Hudson, Bat Rolfe there, all of them, as Edwards finally gets in front of Hamilton, and he's probably going to try to make his way up here next to Jimmy Mullis as well. See what he has for him. Currently, Ty Spearman's got just a shade over 0.3 of a second lead over Joe Schaefer Jr. Go back here to the 25 car. That's Tyler Breeding. Him and Adam Benefield are having a good battle for 15th. They're side by side going down 3 and 4. Best battle on the track, so we're going to show them. Got a couple beat up race cars as Adam Benefield's going to pull ahead of Tyler Breeding. And Grant Brown's going to try the outside now. Even after that caution, the outside's still there. And it doesn't take long for, especially in these hot conditions, for the track to come back, or for the groove to come back in especially. It looks like everyone's pretty much single file now. Ty Spearman still your leader. He's led 36 laps. Joe Schaefer Jr. is behind him, and Jim Caudell Jr. is your top 3. We'll go back here to Zach Novak. Then him and Tim Bills got caught up in that accident about 20 laps ago or so. They're back here battling Jason Tarasenko. There's Daryl Hamlin, 17 car of AJ Rogers. They're all battling to try to get in the top 20. Even these guys back here are no slouch. It's really hard to, when you got a field that's so close, it's hard to, hard to pass. So track position does become a key thing. But if your car is good enough, you can always get around the guys. As you got some tight racing here. Daryl Hamlin Jr. fighting back on the outside, still holding strong in his T4X chassis Toyota. He's going to look on the outside of Jason Tarasenko. So they're almost 3 wide coming down the straightaway. Tarasenko's going to slam the door on Novak. See if Daryl Hamlin can get a run out of the turn. Novak's just going to keep it down the bottom. Both of them are extremely loose coming out of 2. Great saves, as it looks like they were just in drift mode completely out of 2. Both of them were super crossed up. Novak looks like he's starting to get the better of Tarasenko as they go down the backstretch. Daryl Hamlin's going to try to follow Novak through. Some of these cars looks like they've been in a war. Fenders are beat up and everything. They've just been probably chasing the track more often than not. It looks like if we go back up front here to Joe Schaefer Jr., he is currently running down Ty Spearman just a little bit. Let's go ahead and hop on board here with him for a couple of laps and see let's see what he sees here. I'll go silent. You just crank it up. Seeing here is 2 trains of thought. You got Joe who's going in clipping the apron. You see Ty that's going up another lane, and they're both running pretty much on top of each other for lap times. Now get down here in 3 and 4, kind of the same deal. Joe is hugging that white line. Spearman's letting it drift up just a little bit and then squaring off the turn and getting a pretty good drive. But Schaefer Jr. is still a half a tenth faster that last lap, so he's slowly reeling in Ty Spearman. But that's how you get it done around here. And if you think you got what it takes to run with these guys, well, this is an invite league only for the Super Late Model Series here on Thursday nights for the Sim Marketing Solutions Super Late Model Series. However, on Wednesday night in the Davis Chassis Works Contender Series, you can sign up for that, and you can go to SimModelRacingAssociation.com, put your name in there, and come out with us on Wednesday nights. There's usually huge fields. Like I said, last night we had 2 races, and if I'm not mistaken, there's 28 cars in each of one of those. The week before that, we had 61 cars. So there's a bunch of guys that come out in the Contender Series. Same amount of laps, same cars, same rules, same everything. However, the level of competition isn't as great as the invite here. With that being said, you can get invited middle of the season, or even at the end of the season, up to this series here. And some guys can fall from Thursday nights down to Wednesday nights based on level of performance. Obviously, we want the best of the best here on Thursday nights, and that's what you're watching here right now, is the best of the best. That can change towards the middle of the season. If someone gets on a roll in the Contender Series, they will get invited up here on Thursday nights to see how they can handle it with the best of the best in the iRacing community for the Super Late Models. But like I stated, you can't do any of that if you don't sign up. So go to Sim Auto Racing Association, check out the Facebook page, check out the website at racesara.com. If you don't want to race on Wednesday or Thursday, we have 2 other series for the street stocks on Tuesday nights, and we have our dirt series for the midgets and UMPs on Monday nights. So if you want to come out, have some fun, race with some guys, it's a great community that we have here at Sim Auto Racing Association. There's people that like to help people with setups, because this is an open setup league across all boards and facets of racing. We'd like to see you come out there. We've grown over the years, and we got a pretty good thing going. Come join us. Now, these front two guys have pulled away, as Ty Spearman is now starting to pull away just a little bit from Joe Schaefer Jr., as he's up to an 0.8 of a second lead. But behind them, they're almost 3 seconds ahead of Jim Caudell Jr. and Ryan Matthews, as we're almost at the halfway point, or coming to the halfway point here. Ty Spearman has led 55 laps here tonight. He said he started third, took the lead pretty early on, and hasn't looked back since. Now, for also what we have going on this year for the Sim Auto Racing Association and the Sim Marketing Solutions Super Late Model Series, I can't believe I got through that well. We have the Hyde's Pride head-to-head showdown, which basically there's a random row that is chosen prior to the race, before qualifying and everything happens, and that row will put a head-to-head battle between cars. And the row here tonight was row 3. Row 3 was with David Kikorian and Trevor Edwards. So whoever finishes higher between those two guys here tonight will get a little extra monetary bonus. I believe it is $5. And that is from the Hyde's Pride Leather and Sheepskin sponsorship. So appreciate for them for doing that for us. Right now, Trevor Edwards is winning that battle as he's 7th and David Kikorian's 9th. So they are still close. We'll go back here and look at them right now. Tyler Hudson's all over Trevor Edwards. David Kikorian's right there. So this is a good battle. Not too sure these guys know if they are in that or not. If they do, that'd be great. So that way maybe they can race a little bit harder around each other and see how all of that plays out. As we have a long string of cars here from 7th all the way back to, is that Keith Metteros there, that is in 12th. Now there's even more than that. It's back to Benfield there in 14th. That pink car maybe just out of the picture frame there for you. Up in front of them, let's go move up in front of them. We got Ryan Matthews, Jim Caudell Jr., Matt Rolfe, and Jimmy Mullis. All these 4 cars are battling for 4th place. Really good battle here, as there's pretty much 4 distinct lines getting into turn 3 there. They all kind of funnel out of turn 4 in the same. As you see Matt Rolfe going down to the apron, flips it a little bit, de-wedges the car when he gets back onto the apron, and it really helps that car turn. Looks like he's still got pretty good drive off. I did make a suggestion to Matt on the setup from when I ran last night. I'm sure his is similar to mine and what he maybe should do for it for the long run in the race. Don't know if he did it or not, but currently he is taken off as he got around Jimmy Mullis. And now he's trying to get around last week's winner in Ryan Matthews. Matt Rolfe is in the RaceSARA.com T4X chassis Toyota Camry. He started 17th here tonight, didn't have it. Well, he actually had a good qualifying run, as I stated. The top 18 cars were separated by a 10th, so he didn't have a terrible qualifying run. It's just how close it is. As that got really tight right there, as Matthews was on the right rear quarter of Jim Caudell Jr. Jim Caudell came up a little bit. Matt Rolfe gave him a break. He could have gotten to the rear. Both of them caused a big issue. What it did do is allow Trevor Edwards, who is in 7th, and Tyler Hudson, who is in 8th, catch up to this group. So we're about to have about a 6 to 8 car battle for 4th place. Track's really wide now. They're almost 3 wide getting into turn 1 and 2. Jimmy Mullis is fighting back on the outside, a little bit loose. You're going to see that here from here on out. Guys are going to be a little bit loose, little tank slappers here and there. Everyone has it under control. Still super close racing coming down out of 4, going back down into 1 and 2. These laps are clicking off quickly as we're on lap 86 of 150. Matt Rolfe's going to move up high. Jim Caudell Jr. is down low. Jimmy Mullis is still trying to work over. You see Hudson going way down there, almost clipping the grass. You got to go where they're not. There's Mullis. He goes down there too. So there's time to be made in different ways around here, and you're seeing it right now. And that's what makes these guys so good. They go out there, they're able to find a good line, find a good grip, make some passes, clean passes at that. We've only had one caution here tonight, which I'm going to go ahead and jinx it with the old commentator jinx. We've only had one caution, so obviously these long run setups, whoever has them, is the ones that was moving to the front, like Jimmy Mullis and Matt Rolfe, because those guys started in the back. Like I said, for here tonight, the conditions is hot. You know, the air temperature is 78, so it's not too bad. But the track temperature is 105 with 8-mile-an-hour winds coming out of northwest with clear skies. That's the key right there, clear skies. So the track just getting hot with all these cars running on it, and it doesn't cool down too quickly if there is a caution. Well, even if there's not right now, the track's still staying hot. So everyone's got their hands full. As you've seen David Krikorian just at the top of the picture, he just got loose coming out too. Jim Caldwell in the 1 and Tyler Hudson in the 0-1, as Hudson's going to win out that battle. Looks like everyone got it figured out as we had tons of great racing there with a lot of cars for a lot of laps. Going back to single file, and it's like the accordion effect. As soon as someone starts making a pass on someone, like what Matt Rolfe is trying to do right now and Jimmy Mullis, you know, it can really bring in other cars and slow down lap times when you're trying to pass someone, because it's extremely hard to do here with how wide the track has gotten as far as the groove. Matt Rolfe goes down into 3. Mullis is going to give him plenty of room. Matt goes down in the apron, trying to get a good drive off. He's not able to complete the pass this lap. He'll try again, going down into 1. Throws it down into 1. Mullis is going to try to square him up. As you've seen him go really high coming out of, or going down into turn 2, into 1, coming out of 2. Wasn't able to do it. Matt Rolfe gets up to P4 currently, and he's got his sights set on Ron Matthews for P3. These guys are 6 seconds behind here, behind Ty Spearman and Joe Schaefer Jr., but Matt Rolfe right now, he's showing off his dirt experience with just going around trying to find grip wherever he can. And if there was a cushion, he'd be up there banging it right now. Right now, Matt Rolfe is making the moves. And he's still one of the fastest cars on the track currently. Your leaders right now are still about a tenth faster. Not that lap. Matt's all over him, and he's still trying to make a pass right now over Ryan Matthews. As he doesn't have him clear yet. It was close. He almost had him clear coming out of 2. He'll probably have him clear as they get through 3 and 4. I don't know. Ryan Matthews is hanging strong out of 4. Oh, Matthews gets a little bit loose. That's all that Matt Rolfe is going to need. Go ahead and move up in front of Ryan Matthews. Matt Rolfe up to P3 after starting 17th here tonight. Got a strong run going on. He ran good here last season, which I think he ended up finishing 5th. But he had a good car then. He's got a good car now. Now he's got some clean air out in front of him. We'll see what kind of lap times he can turn, if he can run a little bit faster or at least on par with the leaders. Because if a caution comes out, then that whole lead can change when you got another player up there with as much speed as Matt Rolfe is showing right now. As the leaders just ran a 20.09. Matt Rolfe is super loose coming out of 4. He's not going to put it down a good lap time there. Still ran a 20.19 after getting loose like that. So he's pushing. These guys aren't holding anything back. He's still loose out of 4. He's put an eggshell under that gas pedal out of 4. Going to end up not having a right rear and going backwards if he's not careful. Not missing anything up front. Still currently Ty Spearman leading the way. Joe Schaefer Jr. in second. Joe Schaefer Jr. has caught up a little bit to Ty Spearman as they're coming into lap traffic. That's the 7 car of Kyle Souza. Souza's going to move up top, give him plenty of room. It's Jared Boris and Grant Brown just in front of Ty Spearman. If you're Joe Schaefer Jr., you may try to find your opportunity to get around Spearman with this lap traffic. They're about to have some more clean air here for a few laps after they get around Brown. Right now, Ty Spearman showing some good strength underneath that car tonight. Now, Ty Spearman and Joe Schaefer Jr. are teammates. Like with most teammates, all setups are maybe kind of similar, but they'll have different variances on, maybe some track bar settings or small shock settings here and there, or what have you. But so I doubt they're very equal in the instance of they're both just using the same exact set. So that may be all the difference in the world is Ty Spearman has made the proper adjustments on his car, and Joe Schaefer Jr. may be needing just a little bit of something. As you see, Schaefer Jr. just moving up the track just a little bit. Now, the previous lap, Matt Rolfe and Ty Spearman ran the same exact lap time. Joe Schaefer Jr. is actually the fastest one on the track. So Matt Rolfe obviously has some speed in the car. It looks like Trevor Edwards is not too far behind them as far as lap times go. Yep, Spearman's the fastest on that one. So they're just going back and forth. It kind of shows you what kind of conditions are out here right now as these guys are trading back lap times. Go back here to Dallas Pataska. Battling with Keith Meadowrose, and there's Ryan Matthews, which last week's winner and tonight's fastest qualifier there in 7th. We're having a good battle here for 7th place. Someone you may not see on the track here currently is Bill Martin. He's off the track. He's actually 40 laps down. We did see him get caught up in that incident on the backstretch. We'll go ahead and bring him in here, see if we can get an interview with him real quick and see if we can get his point of view on what happened. Bill, we seen what happened with you coming out of turn 2. I can't remember who you got it into. It was Michael Goddard, if I'm not mistaken. And you're out of the race here right now. What happened during that incident?
I think that we just collided. It was probably just racing on iRacing crap. It looked like in the replay his rear end lifted off the ground, so that's probably what really caused my car to go real sideways. But I had to lock him down, and then when we went back to green, the tires are completely gone. So I just pulled off. Since I'm not running the whole season, I didn't want to interfere with crappy tires in 18th place.
Yeah, it was a tough break. Looked like you had a pretty decent car here.
I was running the exact same thing Joe was running right now. I was working with something else, and it was really strong, but it didn't look like it had the speed. So I did a last-minute change. And that always ends with me spinning out on my own. But this time, Michael helped me out.
Yeah, I mean, it's been close racing all over the track. I don't know if you caught it or not, but Tim Bills and Zach Novak pretty much did the same thing that you two did, except they went sliding down to the infield, and there was no caution for theirs, just because they were pretty much way out of the line, and iRacing didn't throw a caution. Now, currently, your teammates are running 1-2, and that's pretty much how it's been all night. Spearman's been up here dominating it. If this thing goes green, you think Schaefer can run down Ty Spearman, or is pretty much Spearman out there on cruise control?
Right now, Schaefer is basically biding. Well, he's not biding his time. He doesn't have anything for him. I didn't say that, though. He'll never watch this, right? He really doesn't have much for him. So I'm sure he's just going to be taking it easy. And if there's a yellow, maybe he's got a chance. But, I mean, if it stays green, Spearman's going to win this.
Well, I mean, it's obviously been green for quite some time. We've only had one caution here tonight, which...
Mine!
yeah, which was yours. So, unlike last night, there was a lot of cautions in both of the Contender Series racing, which is, why it's there, right? So those guys can get some experience and learn how to race like you all are racing here tonight with just the one caution.
Yeah, it makes a big difference too. You get used to everybody that you're racing with here. I mean, it's almost always a guarantee you're going to get, almost 20 of the same drivers every single week. So everybody gets pretty used to, one another's characteristics on the track, and everybody works together really well and giving each other space. Obviously, every now and then a mistake will happen, or we'll have a crummy race, but and especially with the series now having the invites as opposed to just whoever gets in, these races are going to be a lot cleaner than they've ever been before, just with it being more regulars. And yeah, the new series, it's going to be huge. It's going to be perfect because it'll give everybody else the chance to do the exact same thing, where otherwise they would be either not making the race or tooling around in the back when there's nobody that they can compete with. Now they've got people they can compete with. So I think that series is going to do the Thursday night a world of difference for the few that are in the back of the field, who will maybe eventually be in the front of the field.
Right. I mean, that's what it's there for. It's basically the feeder series. So, as I stated it earlier in the broadcast, that if there's someone on the Wednesday night races that is doing extremely well, they're winning a lot of races, or they're just finishing up front consistently, they could get the invite to the Thursday nights and see how they fare with the best guys, basically on the service, if you ask me, for the super late models.
Absolutely.
Here at Thursday night in the Sim Marketing Solutions Super Series. Well, it looks like that Joe Schaefer Jr.'s, that gap has stayed about a half second here for what seems like about 80 laps now. Now he switched up his line a little bit. He's running a little bit higher on the entry than Spearman. I'm sure Spearman's keeping an eye on that and in the gap portion of it as well. You got Matt Rolfe, who's in third, Trevor Edwards, who right now is winning the head-to-head Hides Pride leather and sheepskin battle with him and David Kikorian. So there's a few storylines that's going on with it currently. Jimmy Mullis, who has never really ran well here, he's currently running fourth. So as things are winding down here, as we're on lap 124 of 150, Ty Spearman has dominated the race going forward as he's about to come down into lap traffic. Now, if you're lap down traffic with how wide that the groove is here, Bill, I mean, what's their best bet to let these leaders go on by?
Get as low as possible. The leaders are going to feel the most comfortable at the top making a pass. They can do it at the bottom, but there's such a run off the top when the track gets this used up. And even if you're on the apron and nobody's using it, if you're on the top, you're going to get a huge run no matter how fast you are. So the leaders really would prefer that the lap cars go to the bottom, just like in the real world.
Well, we'll see what Cameron Hamilton does here for Spearman, as he got A.J. Rodgers just in front of Hamilton. So they're coming up towards the top 20 or so in the race as far as lapping these guys down. And there goes Hamilton. He just lets off on the straightaway. So great move by him. Just let these guys go so he doesn't affect the end of this race. However, once you start getting up towards the top 15 or so, you're going to have some guys that are running for position as they're running for points. It may not give them as easy as a way to go. So if you're Ty Spearman, you just want all the competition as you can, I'm sure. And you just want these laps to count down as quickly as possible. But Schaefer is closing in as he's now under 0.4 of a second here behind Ty Spearman.
Good luck with that pass, Schaefer.
Well, if anybody can do it, he can do it. He made a pass on the street stocks there on Tuesday night, as there was a great battle there going on as well up front between him and Matt Rolfe. So he can find a way around him. He is your 3-time series champion. So if anybody can do it, it is Joe Schaefer Jr.
Him and Rolfe are really good at making passes on tracks like this in places they would otherwise, the other passes wouldn't work. And Rolfe's been proving that earlier with those 3 cars he passed just to get himself up to third. It's almost a shame that there isn't a caution to give him a chance to get a run at the front.
Well, you bring up a good point. So if the caution does come out, would that change your attitude a little bit as far as anybody having anything for Spearman?
The bottom being as dirty as it is now, Spearman's going to get a jump on a restart. Joe's going to be safe on the top. It's going to take a bold move from Matt to even get to second, I think, in that situation. But hey, you never know. The tires are old, and someone might spin them. You never know what'll happen. Somebody may blow their engine up, revving up for the last green flag.
Well, we've seen that happen last week. So that was an unfortunate incident there, but it can happen. It is a warm night here tonight. I don't know if you ever looked at your temperatures or anything, but is everything running normal as far as that goes for yourself when you were out there?
Yeah, everything was fine. Car was good. Nothing to worry about. We were at 50% tape, and some tracks, even when it's cool, that's kind of dangerous. Especially like Oxford, the smaller tracks where they rev up real high and real quick. And we use the transmission to get them slowed down quite a bit. But these big, wider tracks, even in the warmer weather, they usually do pretty good. Pro Late, on the other hand, what a wimp.
Yeah, well, we don't have that car, fortunately, racing with this season. We do switch it up every now and then from time to time. And maybe one day we'll bring the Tour mod back. But
Ooh, I'm all about the Tour mod.
Yeah.
The Pro Late can die in a fire until they fix it.
Well, I don't see that happening anytime soon. And Ty Spearman and Joe Shaver Jr. are still battling out here, and they are going to catch lap down traffic here. They got Grant Brown just in front of them. And I think it was Grant Brown, Jason Tarasenko, and Casey Kelly is just in front of them. Now, none of those are for position, so that's a good thing there for Ty Spearman. Now, it is for Jason Tarasenko and Casey Kelly, as they're 17th, 18th. But they may not catch them in time. It's going to be close as we're on lap 137 of 150.
At this point in the race, it's almost a necessity for the lap cars to just give it up to the leaders. There isn't going to be much racing even on a green flag that far back in the field. Usually ends up in cautions when they do it. So at this point, if I was a lap car, even that far up in the standings, you got to let the leaders go.
But we'll see what they do. I'm sure that's what will happen. Everyone pretty much gives each other here a lot of respect and a lot of room, knowing that they could very well easily next week be in the same position as the leader. They'll want someone to move out of the way. Just because they're not running well here tonight doesn't mean that they won't next week. Because like I stated, you got the fastest guys that there is here on the service racing with us. And Spearman can be one of those lap down cars next week, and it could be Grant Brown coming up passing him, for example. So we'll see what Grant Brown does as they come back down into turns 1 and 2. We got 11 laps to go.
Looks like he's sticking it to the high side.
Ooh, Schaefer got a little bit loose out of 2. Grant Brown gives Spearman plenty of room. And he dives down there in front of Joe.
But he gets out of the way.
He does. That was pretty much the only move that he had. But Schaefer Jr. getting loose out of 2 that last lap. There's a huge gaggle of cars right in front of Spearman here. Look, I mean, as we stated, these guys aren't wanting to, hurt anyone's chances of winning. But when there's money and points on the line, guys are going to race. And there is a huge cluster of cars right in front of Ty Spearman. I mean, you have 8 cars there in front of him. Casey Kelly's there, Samuel Roush, Darrell Hamlin, Adam Benefield. I mean, these guys are all running for position. The leaders are running them down with 9 to go.
And this is the kind of thing that will throw a whole new dimension to the race, too. Before we were thinking Spearman's got it, maybe they catch lap traffic and Schaefer pulls it off.
Well, where do you go? If you catch the tail end of this, where do you go? Do you go down low? Do you go up high? I mean, who's to say what the faster line is when you're coming up here to try to lap down some of these guys who have been battling all night here in the top 15? They're obviously not wanting to give it up as Benefield gets extremely loose there. Darrell Hamlin, there's Roush. This is what you don't want to see if you're Ty Spearman. You're up here just begging people not to wreck because it could ruin your night. And that's just going to give Joe Schaefer Jr. tons of time to catch back up to Ty Spearman.
It's looking like they're splitting up a little bit. Spearman might get lucky. 5 car pulls off.
Yeah, Casey Kelly pulls it down to the infield. He's probably had enough of it, doesn't want to ruin anyone's night, or he's just something happened to him with his car.
Hats off to him because he ended up getting a really good qualifying time with no practice at all. I didn't think he'd pull that off, but he is a damn good driver.
Yeah, him and Cody, both of them are extremely good. Got 5 to go, coming to 4. These guys out in front of Ty Spearman have kind of figured it out a little bit as they're back to single file instead of doubling it up like they were prior to. Stafford Jr. still cannot pull in that gap. Back down to 3 and 4.
Ooh, car loose right in front of him.
Yeah, Jason Tarasenko is a little bit loose there just in front of him. Just out of the picture here. We'll catch a glimpse of him right here in the middle. There's Samuel Roush into 13. Spearman's way up the track here now. He's really squaring off the exit on here, getting good drive off. He's starting to pull away from Joe. Joe's probably throwing in the towel here a little bit. Spearman has ran a flawless race. As I stated, he started 3rd here tonight. Up 2 positions clearly. He's led 130 laps. Finishes it out, it'll lead 132 of 150, and that's in dominating fashion. Hopefully Spearman's pills hasn't kicked in and he falls asleep.
What's the 40
what's going on with Jimmy Mullis? He was running up there in the top 5.
I'll have to check that out afterwards.
Yeah, we'll have to definitely go back and look at that. I don't know if he was up there with Hudson, Novak, Edwards. I don't think Matt Rolfe pulled way ahead of them. Coming to the checkered here. Ty Spearman is your winner here tonight for the Midwest Powersource 150 at Stafford. Congratulations to Ty Spearman. Joe Schaefer Jr. coming in 2nd. Rounding out your top 3 is Matt Rolfe. There's your podium. Ty Spearman, Joe Schaefer Jr., Matt Rolfe. The old Wiley vet gets it done here tonight. I'm sure he'll be extremely pleased with that performance. He's had a string of bad luck, it seems like, and in some of these races here in the prior seasons, but tonight in his posse machine in the 92 Ford Mustang, he gets it done. Gonna light him up, hit the rear end of the wall. Now it's gonna fell tech. There you go. Ty Spearman, the winner here tonight. Joe Schaefer Jr. in 3rd. It's a posse 1-2, so that's a good night there for the posse. Coming away with another win. If Ty Majeski can't win, then I guess it's good that another Ty does it for him. He's extremely pumped. He's going to burn it down, do some more donuts.
That middle track right there is one we're racing next season.
I'm down. I would be down with that. We'll go ahead and pull up the results here. Show you who finished where. As we'll have to go back, Bill, if you don't mind doing that, if you go back to Jimmy Mullis there and see what happened with him.
Absolutely.
And it's very interesting as he was running up front. He started 20th here tonight, and he made his way up to 4th place, I believe, as high as he got, maybe 5th. But as Bill's doing that, we'll go ahead and go through the top 10. As like I said, Ty Spearman came away with the win here tonight, breaking a little winless streak for the super late models and coming away with a huge win, dominating win at that. Joe Schaefer Jr. 2nd. Matt Rolfe, after starting 17th, finishing 3rd. Trevor Edwards, who won the Heinz Pride head-to-head battle there over David Kokorian, so he come away with $5 there in his pocket. 5th is Tyler Hudson. 6th, Zach Novak. 7th, Keith Medeiros. 8th, Tim Bills. 9th, Daryl Hamlin coming away with a nice top 10 after he qualified 18th, if I'm not mistaken. Rounding out your top 10 was last week's winner, this week's fastest qualifier, Ron Matthews.
Looks like on lap 148.57 of Dallas Pataska got together with him coming out of turn 2, and he ended up spinning down the whole back stretch into the infield.
So yeah, turn 2 is Calamity Corner there, coming out of turn 2 here tonight. As that was the 3rd incident where everyone's coming out of the turn and got into someone's door. And it tightens up. I mean, especially more so out of 4 than it does 2, but it still tightens up pretty good out of 2. Especially if you get your left sides down on the apron, it can really de-wedge the car and loosen you up pretty good. But we'll go through the rest of the results here real quick. 11th place was Brandon Wilkinson. 12th was Jason Tarasenko. He came away with a nice top 15 finish here tonight. And thanks again for him sponsoring tonight's race. 13 was the 13 car and Samuel Roush. 14th was Jim Caudell Jr. 15th, Dallas Pataska. 16th, Jimmy Mullis. 17th, Kyle Souza. 18th, Cameron Hamilton. 19th, Tyler Breeding. 20th, Donald Clark. 21st, Adam Joslin. 22nd was Michael Goddard. 23rd, Jared Boris. 24th, Adam Benefield. 25th, AJ Rogers. 26th, Grant Brown. 27th, Casey Kelly. 28th, Ben Nile. 29th, DK David Kokorian. And last but certainly not least, Dr. Noise himself, Bill Martin.
Go me!
Go ahead and bring the sponsors up here one more time. Give them a little quick shout out. You got the Sim Marketing Solutions, who sponsors what you watch here tonight for the Super Late Model Series. You have Davis Chassis Works, who sponsors the Wednesdays night Contender Series. High's Pride Leather and Sheepskin, who's doing the head-to-head battles for the Super Late Model Series races. Midwest Powersource, who sponsors the race here tonight. Callaway Investments, who is our Street Stock Tuesday night series sponsor. Race1.us. Canadian Rail Serve. Used the Hub Sim Racing Giveaways. Loco Toco Designs. Dynamic Autosports. USO. Can-Am Racing Series. And East-West Modifieds. So that will do it here for us tonight. Ty Spearman comes away with a dominating victory, leading 132 of 150 laps. Joe Schaefer Jr. finished in second, and Matt Rolfe finished in third. Let's see if we can get anyone in here for interviews. We'll go ahead and bring in Matt Rolfe himself. Matt, you started 17th here tonight. You made your way up into third place. We noticed that you made some really good passes down at the bottom and had some pretty good drive off. Why don't you tell us just a little bit about your race and how things went for you?
Yeah, Stafford's been a good track for me and our team for a couple seasons now, and we've kind of found that groove that does work on the apron a little bit. A lot of guys seem to struggle getting any kind of drive off down there, so the fact that we're able to make it work kind of just gives us a little bit of an advantage down there sometimes, if the car's good enough. And yeah, the race got started and kind of just took my time for a while. And then by the time, the tires wore off, we had that first caution and we got another long run after that. I started abusing my tires, I guess, a little bit, but I was working my way forward and kind of just running the apron, chasing people down, passing them. So really happy with how that was going. And then once I got to third, Joe and Ty were so long gone out front that I started kind of riding for a while, and then I figured we weren't going to get a caution, so I was just trying to search around and find stuff. But yeah, coming up through the pack from, I don't even know where I started, 17th or so, up to third, mostly passing people down the apron. It was pretty fun.
Well, it's definitely exciting to watch. There were some good battles there that you had with Edwards and Mullis, and Mullis got a tough break there towards the end of that race. But next week we'll be at New Smyrna, and that's a pretty much love-hate track there for some guys. So if we're going into next week, what are you looking forward to, or what do you think you can put together for that race?
Yeah, so it's going to be kind of the opposite of what we had this week. Obviously daytime race with not a whole lot of grip out there. A lot of guys are sliding around to go into next week. We'll be at New Smyrna, like you said, for a night race. Should be plenty of grip. I think you'll see some of the same guys that were good at USA. They'll probably be good at New Smyrna as well. Kind of a similar track as far as the banking and the way it races a little bit. So expect guys like Joe and Mullis and Matthews and those guys that were up front at USA. They'll be up there again. It's one of my more on the side of hate for me on the love-hate scale. But we'll get through next week and then see how the rest of the season goes.
All right. Well, congratulations here for finishing third. Is there any shout-outs you'd like to give before you can go off and celebrate?
Yeah, thanks to the T4X teammates as always. And then the sponsors here tonight, Sim Marketing Solutions for sponsoring the series, and Midwest Powersource for being a partner of ours for a couple seasons now and sponsoring tonight's race.
Absolutely. Yeah, we couldn't do it without those guys. So congratulations here again. We'll catch you next week, bud.
All right, thanks.
That was Matt Rolfe. He was the series admin. He puts all this together. And like I said, without him, really, we probably couldn't do any of this. But he comes away here third tonight. We'll go ahead and bring in the three-time series champion and Joe Schaefer Jr. Now, Joe, you finished second here tonight. I think prior to the race, just after qualifying, you don't think you were too happy with what you had there. But you did make your way up to second, and we noticed you got pretty much about a half second, maybe 0.4 of a second to Spearman on that long run. You just couldn't really reel him in. What were you missing there late in the race?
Yeah, I don't think I had anything for him to start. I don't want to say I put down a bad qualifying lap because it was fast. The 7 guys that were in front of me just were better. I didn't nail it, and you needed to be in the top 5 for Q, so missed out on those bonus points. But I knew the race set was good, but I knew I had to get as many positions as I could before the bottom went away, and ended up paying off. Like I said, I had nothing for Ty, but I've done this points racing thing a few times, and finishing second is a good points night.
Yes, it is. And, you kept your nose clean. And this is, pretty much there was one caution. We won't say who it was because we already have. But, there's just a lot of good battles all over the track. And it was extremely pleasing to watch for myself, and I'm sure it was for everyone else that was watching. But next week, we're going to be at New Smyrna Speedway for the Can-Am Racing Series 150. It's kind of, Matt Rolfe spoke of it to it earlier, where that's kind of like USA. So whoever ran well at USA last week will probably be good there this following week. So what do you expect for your car and for your posse teammates there at New Smyrna?
Well, New Smyrna is my favorite track, and last time we raced there, we had, a really good car, and I think that was the only race I won last season or 2 seasons ago, so I'm looking forward to going back there. I think we're going to be pretty fast.
Well, we'll definitely keep an eye out for you. You're fast wherever you go. Is there any shout-outs you'd like to give here before you go off and celebrate your second place finish?
I want to thank the posse. I want to thank Spearman for working with me at the end there. We weren't going to get into that mess with the lap cars, so gave him some room, and he kind of kept me posted on what's going on. Also want to thank Charlie at the Button Box Shop, Cody, Loco Toco Designs, and as always, Ty Majeski for helping out with the setup, and good luck to him at Charlotte this weekend.
Yeah, well, we'll definitely have to, pay attention to him this weekend, and we'll pay attention to you next week for sure, and good luck next week, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right, thank you, guys.
All right, bud. And that's Joe Schaefer Jr. coming away second here tonight, but unfortunately, he was not able to reel in this man. Ty Spearman came away with a dominating victory, leading 132 laps here at the Midwest Powersource 150. Ty, you got the lead early, and you never looked back. Joe just said he didn't have anything for you there. Where were you excelling, or where were you better than everyone else here tonight?
So really, I think that when you're out front like that, Majeski said it last season. When he won here, you can really just pick your line. I had a little bit different line here this season than last season. I was coming off a little bit higher off of 2 and off of 4, and it had a lot of grip, and you can really get a run down the front stretch or the back stretch when you're coming off up high. So if you're coming off high, goodness, I can't speak. I'm tired, and I've already taken my sleeping pills. If you come off high, you can really get a run going down with the grip. You can just, really just
Get after it. Yeah.
Yeah, you can. Sorry, I'm tired.
You're quite all right, and you're super excited. You got your win here tonight, which is good. And you've ran well so far. I've asked the last 2 guys, and Joe Schaefer Jr. and Matt Rolfe, about next week in New Smyrna. Joe said that last time he was there, and it's his favorite track. Last time you were there, they had a pretty good set. So what do you look for next week? You think you can duplicate your efforts that you had here tonight?
Well, it'll be hard for me to do next week, since this time next week I'll be in Pensacola, Florida, where I will be settling down in Pensacola. So we're moving next week, and I won't be able to make the New Smyrna race, but it'll be the week after that I'll be able to race. So lot of excitement going on, moving from South Carolina down to Pensacola, Florida.
Well, good luck in your travels down there, and be safe. And congratulations here tonight. Like I said, on your dominating victory, we watched you just pretty much maintain pace the whole night, and come away with a big win. And before we send you on your way, so that way you can go to sleep or celebrate or what have you, is there any thanks or shout outs you'd like to give?
Yeah, listen, I got to thank Ty Majeski. I sent him a message earlier in the week. I said, dude, when you have time, send me the setup you ran last season, even though the setups were pretty close between what me and Joe and Ty ran last season. But Ty's really had a lot of forward bite off the corner, as you could see tonight.
Uh-huh.
So the only thing that I really had to do was honestly just loosen it up a little bit. and there was not a whole lot of changes to it. And I'm telling you, that thing was a rocket ship.
Well, you proved it here tonight, and congratulations once again. You're on the top box, and safe travels on your move, and we'll catch you here in just a couple weeks.
Yep. Thanks, guys.
All right, that's Ty Spearman, your winner here tonight. Like I said, they dominated, and if you're going to be out for 1 week, that's the time to do it. Is go ahead and have a big win here tonight at Stafford, so that way you can enjoy your win for 2 weeks. So it's not a bad way of doing it. We'll go ahead and bring up the results one more time. Just go ahead and show you the top 10. The Ty Spearman, Joe Schaefer Jr., Matt Rolfe, Trevor Edwards, Tyler Hudson, Zach Novak, Keith Meteros, Tim Bills, Darrell Hamlin, and Ryan Matthews rounds out your top 10. Next week, we will be at New Smyrna Speedway. It'll be a night race for 150 laps for the Can-Am Racing Series 150. So be sure to tune in next week to catch these guys once again do battle on that half-mile high-banked track. It should be super exciting. It's tight racing there, and we'll see who comes away with the victory then. We know it won't be Ty Spearman as he'll be out of town, so it's going to be a new winner next week. So be sure to join us in next week to see who exactly that is. And, it should be some extremely good racing. So thanks for coming out and joining the broadcast here tonight. I'm Derek Robinson, producers Clay Snyder. This is SARA TV. We'll catch you next week.